How's it going, guys? This is a video for Tom Noble. Tom, I saw the hood situation. I think we got to take some measurements here. This is how I would do it. Maybe between me and other people, you can come up with a plan that suits you the best, but this is how I would do it. Let's pretend this small piece of paper is your hood, your new hood. I would start by measuring your new hood and writing all the measurements down on a piece of paper. Okay, I would measure it across the back, across the front, front to back, write all those numbers down. I would do the diagonal. I'd also go across the front, find the center line at that point, the bulge in the hood, and do it from the other way. Write that all down. Make sure the hood is square. So let's assume the hood is square. So now we got to fit this hood into an opening. Okay, now we're just assuming the hood is square. Let's just say the hood is square and we're past that point. Okay, my car's got a fixed cowl in the back, so my measurements are easy. Your car doesn't. Okay, now, I remember you taking measurements down the sides of the car, saying that both sides of the car were the same length. I think we took these measurements before, or up to the quarter panels, or up to the jambs, or something to that effect, when you were working on the door gaps. Okay, what you need to do is you need to make some reference points. You're measuring 2 bolt holes in the cowl and 2 bolt holes on the radiator support. So your radiator support and your cowl are in line. Okay, but that's not what we're worried about. We're not lining the hood up to either one of those. We're lining the hood up to this opening. Okay, if my radiator support was shifted over, we could still line the hood up. You just have to alter the fenders. Okay, so what you need is you need some reference points. Me, I go right to the corner. Forget about the molding. I go right to the corner. And in my car, I can go to where the fender meets the cowl. But you can't. So I would go from the front edge here, go at least 95% back on the fender, and put a mark. So say we'll just pick a number, 72 inches. And I would do the 72 inches on this side. And I would use that mark to this corner and that mark to that corner. I would also measure the inside of the hood. We're going to pretend this is your front valance. So anything on this side is the inner side of the valance. I would take a measurement across here. See how that lands to the measurement on your hood. I'd also take a measurement in the front. I would also measure to the center of the point on this side to match it to your hood. Okay, and I'd also take measurements from the front of the valance to the back and find out what your hole is shaped like. Is your hole true? Is it diamond shaped? You know what I mean? Are both the fenders pushed off in this direction? Because to me it still looks like, at least from the video, that there's a slight gap right here on the front valance. So that tells me that the nose isn't square, or the piece isn't stamped correctly. I wouldn't worry about the hood hinges at this point, because the hood hinges can be altered. They can be moved. That's why there's slots. You should be able to fit this hood without the hood hinges on. So just say, for argument's sake, if you masked off the sides of the car, you should be able to lay this hood right in there and it should fit in the hole. But it's not going to. We know that already, because the gap over here is too big, the gap over here is too small, and I think the gaps on the side are incorrect. Okay, so basically what you have to do is you have to, and I'm not going to use the word parallel because there's no such thing as a square hood. At least I'm sure there is, but not in my world. You can even see my hood over there. My hood tapers, so my hood gets wider towards the back and narrower towards the front. Okay, so to make a 90-degree angle, I've found no 90-degree angles on my car. I even thought the B-pillar was 90 degrees to the door, and it's not. But basically what you have to do is, if you find out your hood is square, meaning when you do it diamond, or when you do a cross, everything's good on it, you have to start transferring those numbers over to your car and find out what's actually wrong with the car, the way the fenders are bolted on, or the way that front valance is bolted on. Okay, this car is relatively easy, because when you put the fender on, the fender wraps around the cowl and the cowl's welded to the car. So the fender pretty much butts the cowl and butts it on this side. So you have a location. The doors also have a location too, because it ends right at the rocker seam, and then there's a front point there. So if you get all those points correctly, you should have the right body gap. This side body gap is a hair bit bigger than that side body gap, and that's due to the fender. Has nothing to do with the door. It's still not crazy, but that's the way it turned out. The fender actually shrunk during the welding process. I learned my lesson on that. Could I have put a very, very, very thin piece of rod on it? Yeah, but I didn't. I said, like I said in the beginning, I didn't hide nothing on this car. You can still see all the weld seams, but this isn't about my car. So me, first thing I would do is put that mark on the fender and check this thing across. I think you're gonna find that the that front nose is not sitting correctly on the car, because there's a lot of variables. I know the fenders are repos, so let's just say the radiator support is incorrectly to the cowl. You took those measurements. Let's say it's right. Let's just say the flange is wrong and the hole that they drilled for the fender is wrong. It's going to move the fender over. Okay, there's a lot of things that could throw it off. There's a lot of things that could throw it off. Now I know for a fact that this to this has a certain angle to it, and on this side it doesn't have the same angle. It's angled in a hair bit more than goes down. I know that because that's the original fender of the car, and if anybody remembers, it was that tiny little rub mark on the side here, and just the last like 6 inches it altered that, and I had to sit there and reshape it and redo it to get it to fit. And if anybody ever looks at the old pictures of the car, this almost touches my hood, but now it doesn't because I had to correct it. So this never moved. None of my tin is bad. I had other fenders on the car and everything was mint. It's when I went back to that fender that I had the same issue. And that's when I realized that that crease is wrong. And it's not wrong all the way up. It's only wrong from like here to here. And that's all the difference in the world. So, with that said, like I said, I would take the measurements of the hood first, lay it all on a piece of paper, so you know whether the hood's good or bad. Okay, because if the hood measures out good, or very close, you're gonna know. I mean, if the hood's out by like a 32nd, that's not your problem. If the hood's out by a 1/4 of an inch, then you start to, you're gonna start to have issues. But if that hood is square, and that hump is in the center, and you measure that hump and its valance, and that's in the center, it's the nose that's crooked, not necessarily the radiator support. So that's where I would go. As you know, I'm not a body man. I try my best, but I just use common sense and the process of elimination to get to some things, and that's one of them. Now I know the Concord is a little bit, but not the support, just the way the two fenders are on. So we'll work on that at a later date. So with that said, Tom, I hope that helped a little bit. I think that's where you're going to find your problem. With that said, we're back on Junior's engine. He's epoxying the front cover now where the shaft comes up through, that they seep and ooze down. He's epoxying that now. I just got a little touch up to do on it cleaning wise. It's like 99% done. A couple of flakes of paint I want to get off. We'll paint it, paint the pan, and we'll button this bad boy up. So, okay guys, I'll talk to you later.